Welcome to the story of Yara Gambirasio, a young girl from the small town of Brembate di Sopra in northern Italy. Her story is tragic and moving, and it has captivated an entire nation. On a cold, foggy evening in late November 2010, Yara Gambirasio leaves her home in Brembate di Sopra. Yara, a lively and talented 13-year-old girl, is dressed in her typical casual wear and is on her way to the nearby sports center to practice her gymnastics routine. She promises her mother that she will be back soon. Arriving at the sports center, Yara greets her friends and begins her training. As a gifted gymnast, she's preparing for an upcoming performance. Determined and focused, after completing her practice, Yara heads home, walking through the quiet streets of her small town. Her family, expecting her return, starts to worry when Yara doesn't arrive home as planned. They call her cell phone, but there's no response. Worry turns into concern as they search the neighborhood, asking friends and neighbors if they've seen her. The search extends into the night as the family desperately tries to find any trace of Yara. The police are notified and an immediate search begins with volunteers, firefighters, and police scouring the area. Despite the combined efforts of many, the search proves difficult in the cold and dark night. In the days that follow, the search for Yara intensifies. News of her disappearance spreads quickly throughout the region. Posters with her picture are placed all over the town, and the case garners nationwide attention. The community rallies together, and thousands of volunteers join the search, hoping to find any clue that might lead to Yara. Weeks turn into months, and despite the best efforts of the search teams, Yara remains missing. Her family lives in a state of uncertainty, holding on to hope that she will be found safe. The search becomes one of the most extensive in Italy's history, but no leads seem to bring the investigators any closer to finding Yara. Then, 3 months after her disappearance, a passerby makes a horrific discovery in an abandoned field not far from Yara's hometown. The badly decomposed body found there matches the description of Yara's clothing. The small community is shaken as the worst fears are realized. An autopsy later confirms that the body is indeed Yara's. The examination reveals severe injuries, including blunt force trauma and multiple stab wounds.
Diverse erano le ferite riconducibili proprio all'azione lesiva di un'arma bianca presenti sul corpo della ragazza, dalla gola ai polsi per arrivare sino alle ferite sulla schiena.
Per il freddo, cioè nessuna ferita sarà determinante per la sua morte, ma queste ferite unite al fatto che sia rimasta la notte al freddo ha contribuito alla sua morte.
Despite the condition of the body, forensic experts managed to secure crucial DNA evidence that will become key in the investigation. The police launch a massive DNA investigation, one of the largest ever conducted in Italy. Thousands of men from the surrounding area are asked to provide DNA samples in an effort to match the evidence found at the crime scene. The investigation focuses on people who might have been near the site where Yara's body was found.
Ignoto uno per la scienza e poi lo diventerà anche per la giustizia è Massimo Bossetti. È il 16 giugno del 2014 quando l'allora ministro dell'Interno Angelino Alfano annuncia sui social che è stato trovato l'assassino di Yara Gambirasio ed è Massimo Bossetti.
Months of meticulous work lead investigators to a critical breakthrough. The DNA found on Yara's clothing partially matches that of a deceased bus driver named Giuseppe Guarinoni. This discovery points to the possibility that the perpetrator is a close relative of Guarinoni. Through careful investigation, the police eventually zero in on Massimo Giuseppe Bossetti, a construction worker from the region. A DNA test confirms that Bossetti is the son of Guarinoni, and his DNA matches the evidence found on Yara's body. Bossetti is arrested and charged with Yara's murder, although he maintains his innocence throughout the investigation. He insists he had nothing to do with the crime, but the DNA evidence against him is overwhelming. The trial of Massimo Bossetti has become one of the most closely watched legal cases in recent Italian history. The evidence presented is compelling, with DNA at the center of the prosecution's case. The defense argues that the evidence is circumstantial and that there's no direct proof linking Bossetti to the murder. Despite the defense's efforts, the evidence is too strong to ignore. Bossetti is found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. His conviction is based largely on the DNA evidence, which is considered irrefutable. Even after his own conviction, Bossetti continues to proclaim his innocence. He appeals the verdict, but the courts uphold the original decision. The case of Yara Gambirasio appears to be resolved, yet it leaves behind lingering questions and a community that must come to terms with its loss. The case of Yara Gambirasio is a tragic reminder of the darker sides of society, but it also highlights the determination of those who seek justice. Yara's memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. Her story serves as a powerful call to protect our children and remain vigilant in our communities. Thank you for listening. This story is not just about tragedy. It's also a reminder of the importance of community, vigilance, and the relentless pursuit of justice.